Okay, I think we can start. So I'm Ralph van Kronberg from the US team, and I would like to update you about the evolution of the Extranet. So right now we're in a pilot. That's important. The word pilot is important. So you're part of the three working groups that we know, of course. There's the IOC working groups, that's your group. You get the IT working group that we will see tomorrow. And you have also the information and communication working groups. And what I want to be sure is that all working groups are aligned and aware of the evolution of the Extranet. So first question, who is going on the US Extranet? Can you raise your hand? Just to have an idea. Okay, good. Then that's a good presentation for all of you. So I will just tell you what happened before, why we changed now the Extranet, what we're working on right now, and how we see the evolution of the Extranet for all of you. Because for us, the tools we're creating is based on your needs. It's not us that say what to do, but I'm more into the user experience, and your needs are important, so we develop the next tools that you could use. For the ones that do not know the US Extranet, today you have on the left part of the screen what you will be seeing if you get an access to the Extranet. So purely it's a typical internet area where you've got the news and a list of tools you can access. That's typically the Extranet today. And on the right part, you can see the kind of type, and I suppose it's in your organization if you get an intranet. You get a part for news, a part for templates, some part about statistics that you might want to have, and other specific tools like the job vacancy management tool, the CVO part, surveys, what we call the US monthly reports to know about the market per country, kind of events which are available to Europe but also inside the network. You can also propose some links to the network and other specific tools like the learning part. That's what you have inside the Extranet today. In the IOC, there's something quite specific, is that sometimes we are bringing some experts that should be part of working with the US members. I will come back on that specific point later. So what we have done, of course, is we checked with the different groups what were the needs that you had to make it a better Extranet so you can use it. Because the point is to have tasks that you want to be easy to do for your work, because I would say US is a part of your work, but it's not your main work. That's one part of it. That's above your work. So we need to make it quite straightforward to you. And what we got, first of all, is quite simple, straightforward, is a way to have an online chat with anyone of the network. So quite basic, that could work in all your, I would say, IT security issues. So we have maybe found a solution for some of the countries to be able to search any kind of content, to be able to see the current information, because how often do you go back into an older version? No, you always need the current version. So we found maybe a way to do it. And also other means of communicate to each other from some specific project that you're working on. Also to find some kind of knowledge base, so a structured kind of content. And also, that's a bit maybe new for some of you, user content generation. So that's where you've got a link between control information, let's say from the European Commission, and shared information you can work with. So that's a paradox, in fact, because how can we handle control information and user content generation content by the network? And we might have found a solution with workspaces. And of course, a lot of remarks was about ready-to-use content. So you need to have templates for any presentation you need to show to anyone. You are missing where you can find those kind of presentations. Last year, we defined with some consultants a kind of conceptual model of how should the new Extranet look like and what it should focus on. So I will not go in what we call the mind map. That's what you can see with all the branches. I will just focus on the right part. We divided into three main categories called connect, collaborate, and learn. The learn part, in a way, is what we call knowledge base. And we divide it into specific areas. Like, first of all, imagine you're a newcomer into the US network. You need to have trainings. You need to have basic trainings. But maybe after 1 quarter, there's some new information. You need to know what is updated information. So that's the training part. You need to have also the resource and also key information from the European Commission. That's where you get this kind of knowledge base. And also all the official meetings or plannings that we envision, and important also is all about those, what we call legal documentation. That's quite important. The connect part is simply the news you can get within the network. So there's 2 parts. There's the news which are official news from the Commission to you, and also because we think a network is based on human. So birth of a baby, whatever, that kind of information is also important. We try to make you be closer each to other because we believe into the human relations. Of course, a who's who, so you simply put any names or countries, whatever, and you can find one of the contact within the network. Just for information, today you've got at least 900 active members of the network on a database of 3,000 contacts. And right now, with some other IT consultant, we're trying to rationalize all those kind of contacts, and those are part of the network. Then the last part is collaborate. So how can you work together? So first of all, there is something called events which can be public on the public side of the portal that can be communicated to a large audience. And there are events which are within the different countries. This can be shared on that way. Then workspace, this part I will focus at the end. That's one of the really new things we would like to do, and it's a kind of mindset shift. It's really different from other kind of way of working. And then you have a set of tools that we'll propose to you and that you already have access. So if I to have keywords about what is the US Extranet, it's simple. It's made for, first of all, the US advisors and US members. I do think that IOCs are part of the US members part. Then divide it into connect with any of you, collaborate in terms of groups, and learn which is the knowledge base you can go for to know everything about US. What we see in the future is, of course, increasing collaboration. And I suppose in your organization, they always talk about, yeah, you must collaborate, so create a forum, a wiki, but that doesn't work. I mean, if you know the secret sauce for this, just share it to us, because we don't know. That's not because of the technical tool you have in place that it means that people will use it. Here is about really how can we increase collaboration in our multiple ways, using sometimes basic tools or even meetings like this. That's much more complex than only specific technical tools. The other point, of course, is to be able to share information between each of you and, of course, stay up to date with any kind of information that we could provide to you. And also sharing, for instance, kind of cases of projects that you have been involved into the network. Maybe you want to share something. So aside of the feedback we got from the network, we also checked, okay, what are the specific parts that any extranet that you would go for should have. So a knowledge base, that's clear, a way to ask questions, a way to find contacts, so the network, a way to find files, way to communicate, and there are multiple ways to communicate, not only online chat, for instance, a way to centralize projects that you want to share or not. That's up to you. There are multiple ways to do it. And on purpose, when I don't talk about the tools, about the features, I talk more about what you want to do in terms of tasks and not the tools. So here, way to collaborate is a mix of wiki, blogs, forums, calendar into Extranet, and then specific tools, web applications that you might use for your specific organization. From that part, we have defined, based on the feedback that we received and also a benchmark of other Extranet, we defined the kind of key features we would like to have first. So really have the minimum features first to make the evolutions to have all the features. Because even if we have an extranet ready with all the tools, we need to be sure that the audience that will be using it will be aware to make it happen. Otherwise, it's going to be a nice, beautiful, complex car with too many functions inside, but you will never use it. So we want to make it step by step. What we have seen for the features, of course, is basically a file repository system on the learn part, kind of wikis. So just to have an idea, how many of you are using wikis? Using wikis, I mean adding page, content on page on the wiki. Just to have an idea, okay. And see how we can go beyond wikis, because there are different kind of way of using wikis. Then, of course, the online chat and workspace, and there's a bit of, I would say, a buzzword called bricks. How many of you are on Facebook? Okay. Well, simply what we think would be interesting here, it's an attempt, because we want to make it testing by you, is bricks, which are little message, like in Facebook, where you can put to the full network. And again, when you log into the US Extranet, you are logging with your ID. So what you put, we know who is putting it, of course. So the kind of security, it's inside, I would say, the extranet. We know who you are when you put stuff inside. It's not a security breach, whatever, except if the login is lost or whatever. So if you put a little message on the brick, we know who is putting it. That's pretty to see it. Also, we consider that there is multiple audience from, let's say, 25 till the 60s, and the way that you collaborate is different. We try to see what could be fitting for your work, but also based on the way you are working in terms of generations. So, today, just to give you the key points, so as I told you, we really checked with multiple of kind of input of people, so through, of course, the big communication working group, other tools through the help desk, because we have access to Jira tickets to see what are the kind of requests the network is asking for. So we take all those logs and see what are the most common 80, 20%, so those kind of recurring questions. And there is one specific little group, the IT working group. Just, I would like to know who was part last year of the IT working group? Okay, and who has the chance to be the 10 people that will be part tomorrow? Okay, so we try to have a really small audience here, and those guys are in fact defining the preset or the initial kind of structure of the extranet. So remember when I said to you, we take what you want and we put it there. The goal is not to say, we commission say you do this. No, the goal is to understand what you want and to integrate this and have a test. The thing today, when you think about Google, they always call about Google beta, because they evolve. That's the same mindset we want to have. It's not fixed. And like Antoine and Christophe said about the dates, we're working with multiple teams in IT, which are working in waterfall approach and agile. So combining teams which are working agile and waterfall, and then think about release, that's why we cannot always give you a right time, date, we can only give you estimates. Now, what we try to do here in the pilot is that at least you will be able to start to test the new functionality, and based on impact, we can put it in place. That's what we try to change. Why I tell you this, I will show you later. So, in terms of progress, we're designing and developing the new extranet with some of the key features. And aside, that's one of the projects, it's called the Activity Plans and Report. There was a pilot last year, filled in by all the countries, nearly, like I would say, 99% of the countries, so one country was not able to put it inside. And we have a pilot group which is in fact improving the Activity Plans and Report. And we're now doing the second release for the end of the year, that's the plan. Just to give you an idea how it's working. So, you got today this legacy US Extranet that you saw on the first screen, give you some idea of what it is today. And then you have what we call the new US Extranet. This is totally two different systems, two different technology, and you know really well if you are in IT that when you use another technology, well, you've got issues that come around. That's normal. And if you are a project manager, the planning is always changing. What we plan to do is, and it's still estimation, in the end of the year, we would like to start the pilot of the new extranet. That's the phase you can see here, and you will be able to access the workspace and the full new extranet, but all the part will not be in place, in fact. Then afterwards, you will get this kind of transition phase where all the tools, all the contents from the legacy US extranet will be ported to the new extranet. And then we're going to close the old US extranet. That's the way we're going to do it. During the pilot phase and the transition phase, because we use Agile here, we consider any feedback in the loop of development. That's the way we do it. And then when we have developed a new version, then it's going to, I would say, a waterfall release approach. The waterfall release approach takes more time to be completed in production because it's a quite complex process. I mean, if you work into a kind of IT governance, you know that you get the testing, development testing, and after, I would say, conformity and then production stuff. And this can take times. I talk about this because I suppose you're from the IT parts, for some of you, and can understand this kind of evolution stuff. So, back on the new, just to give you a quick overview of the way that the new extranet will look like, you've got first the connect part, where you will be able to search anyone from the network. You will see, of course, all the news from EURES, and then you will have the part called EURES Wall, which is open to any one of you to put a little note. That's the purpose of the connect part. In the collaborate part, you have access to all the events which are shared throughout the network. You will be able to see, in terms of workspace, what we call the activities in the workspace. I will come back on that point. And you will see all the tools you can access, meaning the most important one, and of course, you don't see this really small, the list of all the tools. There are something like 20-ish tools that you can access throughout in our network. In the learn part, so the knowledge base, you get the landing page, and we try to give you on the landing page the most important link that you might need, and that I would say the European Commission would like to share to you on it. If you go on each part, and you can see this on the left part, learn, training, resource, you have a more detailed of all the kind of content you can get. So for you, this is in fact managed through a wiki, so it's completely manageable on that way, but you will only have a view rights. So you will not see this wiki, in fact, how it's working. And one important part, on the top, you will have a search where you can search in all the wiki's pages, and also in all there will be also a file repository with all the files. We made some tests, and it seems that the hit of results for the search is quite good. In development, we try always to finish by the homepage. So the homepage is not yet defined, but that's a way of what we think the homepage should look like. So first of all, to focus on the search part, and to give you news information first, then bricks information, your workspace, the latest event that will come next, and what we could say the most popular documentation that we want you to share to you. Another part is the shortcuts. We want you to be able to have your own shortcuts also. So you can define shortcuts that you will use, like on the daily usage. You might want to avoid you to go to make 3, 4, 5 clicks. You will be able to define your own shortcuts within the extranet and also with links outside of the extranet. Because sometimes we always use, if you quantify yourself, you will see that you always use the same links every day. So if you use a system, it would be nice that at least at any moment you will get those 3 links that you always go, in fact. We are that way in a way of working. And on the bottom of any of the page, when you're logged in, you will have an online chat, and people which will be connected on the network, you can communicate with them through a simple chat. So for tomorrow, That was the mind map to define the extranet. So what you see is really a graphical representation of the new extranet. The dash part is the workspace. I need to explain you that part. Some of you I know it really well because they are know how to use, I would say, kind of collaborative way of working, but maybe for you it's new. Let's imagine if you take any extranet or any kind of groups, often what you will see is, okay, you get a bunch of collaborative tools. So a wiki, so for those that do not know what is a wiki, it's a simple way to edit content on a page and anyone can participate. That's, I would say, one definition of it. The forum is really a message board, so you can have question and answer. That's from the past, but it's still there. Then you've got a file repository and other kind of element like a calendar, whatever. Those are collaborative tools. You are part of people, and you are in the middle. That's you. If you think that way, then you are part of different projects. You may be part of different working groups. You may be also interested in different subjects. That's a way to see how you are, and just to think, how can we fit these kind of tools with multiple interests or multiple of categories you might be part of. What we want to do with Workspace is this. So you have a big group of workspaces which in fact are specific for one interest, let's say interest in finding jobs or maybe IT tools. That's a specific kind of group. Or maybe you are part of the IOC working group. Those specific workspace, we would like to have the tools selected on the left inside it. And sometimes maybe you'll just need a wiki. You don't need all the tools. So that's the way we could see what we call collaboration into a specific targeted category. And we want those tools to be available at any moment. So normally the way we work, we have a request, a task, and often what is asked to you is the final output. The workspace is seen as a work in progress. It's always ongoing. And some of us are fighting to have control to the user. So it's not controlled. Anyone from the network can put content inside and participate because it's more, I would say, kind of collective intelligence. That's the approach we're going to use for the workspace. Now, of course, some workspace may have some specific privacy element, which I will show you later. That's, I would say, in a way, we see the workspace inside the new extranet. That's what we want to say for a mindset of change, in fact. So it's, in a way, it's to be transparent. That's what we see here. If you look in terms of membership of kind of workspace we can see three kind of workspace we can propose. One which is open, meaning that you are part for sure of it, everybody of you. One which is private, so it means that you need to join, you want to request to join this workspace to work on it. And restricted, meaning that I take you, IOC working group, that's for me a workspace. If you're part of the IOC working group, you are part of it. If, for instance, I'm not part of the IOC working group, I don't even know it exists. It's completely invisible. That's a three kind of membership workspace we are envisioned at this stage. So if you know LinkedIn and groups, is a kind of same logic, same approach. The second part is about the kind of category of workspace. So group of interest, meaning that you've got a large audience and you want to share, that's the group of interest. Project-based, that's specific targeted with a goal. And if you look on a cycle of a workspace can live, die, and rebirth again. That's, think of a timeline. You get your activity on the first quarter, you made the workspace, and maybe 2 years later, there's a new initiative coming around. So it's not always living, always active. It's normal. The point is collaborate. That's the point. It's human-based, nothing more. The working groups, well, I explained to you what it was. And for instance, I mean, IOC working groups will be for sure a working group and should be restricted to you, in fact. That's, I would say, the aim of the IOC working group. So to give you a snapshot, those are in pilot phase. Okay, in that specific case, on the left screen, you will see the list of all the working groups which exist if you're part of it. And on the right part, what you see is the workspace that you are part of. So it means that you will see all the open workspace plus the private or restricted workspace you're part of. That's the purpose of it. Just to give you an example, how it's working, you go into the workspace, you select one workspace, and then you can work on your own workspace. In a workspace, you've got different element components. So you've got, of course, a welcome page. That's typically what you will get. Per default, you get a wiki, and anyone can add pages, can edit the content of any pages, can delete pages. You will have a file repository. You can create your own categories. You can add, remove files, forums, a calendar, which is a bit, we put the calendar per default because we thought it would be interesting to have a calendar. Now, in the future, imagine you've got 10 workspace and you've got a macro calendar with all the elements. That's what we want to envision with the calendar part. And then you've got the list of all the members which are there at that moment. Those are the default component of a workspace, and in some cases we can remove some component for each workspace. Oops. Okay, Murphy is there. So it crashed. So when the pilot will be ready, you will receive an email. And there is 3 working groups. There is you, the IT, and the information communication working groups. We will give you some set of instructions, and it's going to be free to you to decide if you want to participate in those workspaces. That's what we call the pilot, in fact, to see if it's working or not. Because based on your input, we will know if it's a failure or not. I prefer not to talk about failure, but about experience. Because we have to try it to know it. We cannot know if we don't try it. That's the point. That's all I have to say to share you the extranet, how we view it. And because we had an issue about the server pilot, I made a quick video to show you some part, and that's made this morning, about, in fact, the pilot phase of the extranet. So I'm logged into the new extranet, and I click on the connect part. In the connect part, I can see all the news which are available, and you can see the bricks. And so first of all, of course, I can view the news if I want to know about informations. That's Firefox. Then I can read it. That's typically what you would do maybe once a month. Read the news, which are the newest one. So it's like 2 or 3 minutes. You can quantify the time, you can set times to check the extranet if you want. Then you could go back and say you want to share something. That's why you get the bricks to the network, because maybe somebody who is online might want to chat about what you just say on the bricks. And that's just there. It's really open. So we don't control that part. It's not the purpose. If you go into your shortcuts, you would say, yeah, maybe I need some other shortcuts. And what you see here is shortcuts which are within the extranet you can define, so it's still undergoing to make it more nice in the view. So it's listing the full sitemap of the extranet, and you can add any, of course, any URL you want to use. That can be linked, in fact, to your work with URES, for instance, or anything you want. It's open. We don't control that part. You can see who is online, and you can communicate with that person. You can communicate with multiple persons also. In the knowledge base, the learn part, you will see, like I said, the landing page with all the kind of communication, all the kind of knowledge base. You have a search per type of sections of the wiki, and also the file repository of all the content. You can check which are the training you would like to follow. This page is completely customized, of course, so we can define, based on the input of the network, what would be the first links that users should access. And if they want to go further, they go in each sections. That's the learn part. This is controlled by the European Commission, that part. But we consider your input, because you can comment any of those pages, by the way. If you're going to collaborate, you can see which are the events which are upcoming, and you can filter any events. You can see a set of tools, and you can see all the other tools which are available. That's an ongoing for the moment. All are related, of course, to URES. In the workspace, okay, that's my view, but you will have a more restricted view in that specific area. You can filter per kind of workspace categories. And let's say that you want to start to, jot or participate into one of the workspace. You will go into the IOC working group. Here, you will have a landing page with content about what is the working group and some specific links. You could click on the wiki, for instance. There will be a definition of all the links, and that can be done by anyone. You can define the links. That's pages of a wiki. Completely controlled by you. There's no way that we want to impose anything. And you can, of course, drop files. Yeah. So you can drop files, for instance, meetings. Let's say today we have a meeting, and you just have there inside the presentations all there, the link to the live stream right now. You might have forums that you want to communicate during live event, or Q&A, whatever, it can be created, so you can create categories and any topics. In the calendar, maybe you want to know what is related to the IOC working group. You get this, for instance, today. And at the end, you've got the list. You can maybe say, yes, you participate, so to manage it. And then you get the list of members. That's one way of how we see the new extranet part. I prefer to give you a video because I was with the developers and we had some discussions. This is safe. Murphy was there today, so that's why I just showed you a video. So this is the extranet we are planning to do under development right now. This was recorded this morning, but we need to put it on other server. I mean, you get a lot of IT process which are heavy. Do you have any questions? I knew it.
I have a loud voice. I like what I saw here. Did you think about extend these functionalities to the basic employer and job seekers who are members?
Okay, so the question is about extending the functionality for employers and job seekers. I would say would be really nice, but then you need a lot of resource because you have to think about resource for all the language and you need to be clear on what you want to do. So it's like, I would say, creating a full new unit. It would be perfect, of course, but this is nearly creating a new organization for that part.
But this will be the best social media.
It's a one-to-one, so it's human to human, yes. That would be a nice vision for the future, but that's beyond what I could propose at this stage.
But you do have this in mind.
Maybe, yes.
This was the question.
Yes, it's in mind, but resources needed, and you need to have a clear vision where you want to go there, yes.
Because I'm trying to use Extranet for the beginning of my presence in the IT working group or whatever. It doesn't work because we have connections between us, but with on other platforms, with other methods, not on the URS platform. It would be nice to have such a platform, and I think it would be nice for the job seekers and employers to have such a platform, also integrated with LinkedIn, where all of them are present.
Yeah, so the communication with other APIs, even beyond, I would say going to Evernote and other kind of tools is envisioned, in fact. That's communication of other APIs also that we can see, because we all use multiple kind of other connectivity services. So that's also envisioned, of course. We want to go much more into tools that can help you to make your task. That's the purpose of it. And maybe facilitate and help you to work together. That's, I would say, kind of one of the mission of the European Commission, at least for US. That's where we could see it at that stage. Because I'm sure you had the more I go into meetings, the more I can see that you get, I would say, best practice you want to share to the others. And sometimes somebody would like to see it afterwards, that this may happen. Well, if you have one place with all those information that you can reuse and show, you can communicate and share it. But that's a way, a mindset changing. It's not about the emails. By the way, I didn't talk about the emails at all on purpose. Zero mail would be heaven also. That you get everything in one place. That's the purpose here.
Another thing, a nice one. The collaborative tools is good, but this should extend a collaborative activity who is taking place now. Did you have a search? Which of us do have projects in common or collaborate somehow, somewhere?
Yeah, we're trying to, that's the challenge we're trying to figure out also is, some of you have got partners kind of projects, and sometimes it's difficult to see who is doing what, in fact. And that's what we're going to try to do in the next evolution. I mean, that's what we want to do, of course. Just for transparency, that's the purpose, that's it.
So Ralph, to pick on this, we are one of the first groups that is going to collaborate, because we are a group, we are a group that is collaborating, and I already was a nightmare for Ralph, because I said, I'm not sure that all the members of our group will always be Euros advisors. It is possible that someone member of this group is being appointed by its organization for just being here and is not taking any other function in the Euros network, or that you want to involve someone on a forum or discussion being logged in and not using your account. So I asked Ralph, I want to have a collaboration space with Euros members, but I would like to invite, to be able to say, we are sending, if a member is high enough with the rights, I want to invite, be able to send kind of a link, like in Dropbox, I send the link to you, and by sending you the link, you're in, and you can collaborate. So it should be something of the network, and for some reasons, like us, I always already requested if it would be possible that a user would be invited to join. For instance, if we're going to have the new standards, and in our group we will have some project saying we want to have a couple of employers using it together with us, and we want to do a pilot phase, we want to set up a project on this, and then you want to go and communicate with these employers. on that page. You will invite them, we go there, we discuss, we show them documents on what they should be doing. We don't want to go outside then again. So this is one, and we will be one of the first, I hope, users as a group, be able to use this collaboration. So no more Dropbox with the documents on it. The idea is we go there, we have a wiki. If I have to share plannings, we put them there. We have a forum. If we have like the API, you've got the IDs, we make a forum thing on it, and we start hitting information there. If you go online, you have a chat. And I agree with Valentin that we had discussion before with some of you that if everyone finds it very normal to go in the morning and log in onto this portal, then you start using it. It's if you go and you rather go on Facebook or your internal system and you once a week will go on the portal, then it doesn't work. So that it needs to have sufficient tools that you say, I will go there because I need to be there every day. And if I do something, I will do it there, of course. And that's the whole challenge that we're up to get to that level that we say, if we collaborate, of course we do it there. It's evident. So for us, that's why I was presenting it today. We will hopefully be amongst those pilots as a group, start putting our documents from the Dropbox in there, having a wiki, and you will be all on the front row to test it and collaborate.
And I hope you don't think about moving this collaborative activity on the virtual platform.
I take note of the fact that you would like to meet us still in Brussels. Is that the case? Point taken.
No sorrow.
It's not the first try.
I didn't share to you the vision of other tools we see to better collaborate. As I explained before, it's step by step. Because there are in the pipeline, other tools we could see that could help you in your work. That's the point. But step by step, if you work in IT project management, you know that it takes time, and in the European Commission, it takes extra time to make stuff be there in place.
One more word, I swear. Step by step is not enough. I should find here something I don't find somewhere else, where I'm used to find. LinkedIn, I mean, or GitHub, or whatever. If I found here something I don't find in the other places, I'll be here. Or
that's the purpose of making everything centralized in one place for that
integration.
part.
Integration is very fun.
Well, integration is the next step with other platforms. Is completely in plan, and not only with Jira, for instance, or LinkedIn. We want to have much more integration with other kind of services.
And one guys. About Extranet. Jira system like we have in IOC is mandatory. We have problems with the concealers who lost password, whatever. I send them to go on the portal to chat or things to retrieve passport and things. A Jira system on the Extranet for the problems, issues that we have to be solved. I think you can imagine.
And also the app safe.
Yeah, the app is a bit something different, seeing the evolution, which we're waiting for.
Passwords and so.
Yes, that's for later.
One short question concerning the timeline. You mentioned that there will hopefully be a pilot in December this year. So the first point where the users get in touch will be in the middle of next year somehow? Or?
That's what that's estimate.
Yeah.
The plan would be first for the pilot to see how does the audience is reacting to this kind of new approach, while you will have in parallel, of course, the legacy Extranet, because we cannot switch off like this. The learning curve is too high, because there is also a process for the learning, and also courses that is all linked to it. So, but first, it's really to have the buy-in of the audience, take the feedback, make the evolutions, and that's the way we're going to do it. So progressively, yeah.
And do you think of a kind of training program for the users, or?
It's already, in the starting blocks for that part.
In Malta.
In Malta, maybe.
Summer.
Now, the point is that, for instance, tomorrow in the IT working group, you will have someone called maybe Davide that you might know, who is the lead for the training stuff. Is there also to see how we can gather that part also.
And please, I think we mentioned it in the last meeting as well, please think of the technical restrictions in the PES IT network. So if you want us to upload or to download things from the portal, please make sure to communicate the technical demands.
And that's why we've got this pilot, because we would like to know your IT concerns using the tool, in fact, to see what are the ways. Because normally it's...
but I guess nothing would work if I would test it now. So first, if you know what kind of technologies you're going to use, I think the IOCs would be a good group to let them know, and they can make the first...
Well, the IOC and the IT working groups are the two first groups in the pilot, because they're more, I would say, bracket IT knowledgeable to see what are the issues in each countries.
Thank you.
Will there be an instant message function, so a chat function, as opposed to just message posting?
What do you mean a ticker? Because there's an online chat. So if you log in on the interface, let me show you. At the bottom, on each page, you got a footer which will be always there, which is the online chat. So if you logged in, the systems know that you're logged in, and you will be able to see who is also logged in. Yeah, it's really small there. I will do something I would not do, so I will do it. Let me try to see if I can do it.
Never do something you wouldn't do.
No, but I like Murphy. So I'm connecting. Just to show you the chat functionality. Oh, it's working. At the bottom, you can see who is online. It's one of...
This is the testing platform?
Yes. So this is real life. So somebody now in Spain is in fact seeing that message popping up there. So this is the chat online right now.
Okay, and you can have more than 2 people. It's not just
It's a
one-to-one.
group. You can define more people there. So.
And what about the video conference?
Yeah, that's a typical issue with the video conference, because each...
It's not going to happen.
Well, you need to have access.
At this point.
It's always the same technical issue with IT. I don't know if we can make a real-time video session stuff, but it's a one-to-one, so there is security breach. I don't have an answer for that part. The only way is to explain which tool, give the port access and everything. But then the IT admin will say yes or no. It's per country.
Will there be any possible to subscribe for the calendar, like iCall for mobile calendars and desktop calendars, and subscriptions for changing the wiki pages?
We tried the notif. So subscribing for calendars, it's in vision, but not now, because there are some complexity that the developer told me about. The second point about the notifications of wiki, we tried it, but if you it's there per default in the system. Every change into the wiki, a dot, a space, a comma, whatever, you will receive a notification. So we don't suggest sometimes to...
I mean only the pages who are interested.
Following specific pages.
Specific pages.
Well, basically that's a typical kind of feedback request that we need to develop there. So no for the first, to answer clearly, not now. By the way, the workspace, there is one called US question and answer. That's where you can put your feedback directly. because we've got our list of tickets linked to Jira, and we can know, based on the priority, because we use, I would say, Scrum approach, we can define which could be the most interesting also into the development. So that's typically the way we need to use Workspace also for the development. Okay. Well, thank you for your attention. And during the pause, if you want to see something, I've got my laptop, and I can show you I would say the demo part, which I have with me.
You could give access to...
No, I cannot give you now because there is a limitation of number of people that can access on it. So, and the developers are working right now on it. I mean, right now for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not stable enough. So, no, I cannot for the moment. But
I saw that movie again, not right now. Thank you.
that's it. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, just a question.
Yes.
As I understood, this next platform will provide a single sign-on. Is that
Okay, so the single...
I don't have to care about authentication on the other tools I use on the scope of the usability.
Okay, so because of the, I mean, I talked about the delay, about timing stuff, so you get different systems. The single sign-on is also a dependency to our system because it's outside of this platform. So we've got in parallel multiple systems that need to be developed, and single sign-on is part of it. It's in the pipeline right now for this year. And of course, we would like that when you log in once, all the other systems are, I mean, I would say you're recognized and you don't have to re-sign. But at this stage, it's under development, that part. So there will be a delay. You will have to log in multiple times, depending on the systems that you want to access. Yes, that's... Okay, thank you.
So he will be back later on with more developments on this in the next meetings. By the way, the single sign-on is also for all tools. So you got this for testing tool, the monitoring tool, this you'll access to the backend replication. It's all going to happen with your Euros account. So you will only have one account, and if you have links from one tool to another and you're already logged in, you will just go in. So you don't have to go in each tool, which you have to do today. So I'm logging into 5 tools so many times. So it's one of the big changes that this new user management has to be put in place, which is a nightmare for Ralph, because for him it's blocking. If he doesn't have his user, he cannot have an extranet. So, okay. We go to the next point, which is something you've been working on and which I admit was maybe a very painful exercise for some of you, but a very important one. It's our questionnaire on the new standards. So I will do a little introduction to bring you up to speed of what we've been doing and what we are going to do today. And then we'll give the floor to our colleagues from Everest. We've got Ellen here, Emmanuel and Henrik way in the back. They are working with us on a couple of initiatives, and one of them is this standards initiative. So some of you already have been in contact with them asking questions. So now you see the people in real life. So we're working very closely with them to get this through. And you will be the first ones where we share the first results of the survey, because you've been the ones suffering most of it, I guess. So we saw this already this morning, how important these new standards are. It's the building blocks of everything we're going to do in the coming so many years. And it's all because we are building this interoperability platform. I will just build up the whole slide. This is one from before, one of the previous meetings. In the end, we want to have 2 clouds, which I call the yellow pages. I want to have all the information which is necessary for searching and matching on all job vacancies across Europe. And I would like to have the same on all the CVs across Europe, of all the members of our club. To do so, I could do this for the job vacancies already today because we have an existing format, but as you know, there's a lot of information missing in this existing format. If you want to do proper matching, it's not anymore suitable, and lots of you are doing much more advanced things already in your own databases. So we have to step up and get a new format where we need new web services to go and exchange. And once we have this, we can give you what is in the middle. So first, we have to have the painful exercise of getting the yellow pages. Once we have it, all these APIs that you all now know about, and you have already been brainstorming during lunch, of course, what you're going to do with it, this is what you will get in return. So as you know, investment is painful, return on investment should come one day. Let's hope that we see this. So the cornerstone is what we're working on. It's this new format. It's the template, the number of fields that we are going to exchange, and in which format we're going to do this. Which is, of course, not an exercise that goes very easily. We're working now on this for 2 years. And what do we want to do today? We want to give you a status on this. We want to get your approval on one thing. We have this questionnaire. We've been collecting the results, and we want to make decisions based on these results. We determined together how we would do this, and we want to get the feedback from this group that this is okay to go, say, if we have this kind of results, we decide on this way forward as the default way to go. This is what we want to share with you today and obtain your feedback on it. As you know, we will also give you a first high-level questionnaire results. I'm as curious as you because I didn't see them. They were just finished because we got some more coming in. So I will see them when this presentation goes on. I will see myself what are the first results. So maybe if they're really bad, I will just go out and we forget about it. And we want to see also if there are already some gaps, if we have some clear gaps between what we are dreaming and what you can do to expose them, and see if there are any recommendations to make. So the last 3 bullets are sneak preview, as the survey is not finished. Some of you are still working on it. We cannot give final results, but we can give you an idea where we're going. And then we will now see what's the method that we followed until now, which is quite important. And it's also quite important that you communicate very clearly into your organizations about this. Because this is the cornerstone of something which is going to be the new regulation, saying we're going to exchange, and one part of the implementation of that decision is going to be that we will exchange this by using these formats. So that's why it's so important we do so much effort of having everyone involved, that we will not impose something which is totally not feasible. Again, we want to have so that's why first we had a review. You know, last meeting I showed you, and I get a lot of good feedback. And the questionnaire has been changed quite a lot based on your feedback. We made it simpler and we moved some things from there. So thanks again for your contribution there. We sent then a letter from our director in February to the heads of PES, because it needs to be informed at their level, so they cannot say that we didn't know that this was coming through the regulation one day. And we put them expectations, and we put a copy then to the NCOs and to you. We put it to test, and we inform you, because as I guessed, I think more than half of you finally got this task on your desk. So you were informed up front. We offered support, so during the questionnaire you could raise questions which would go to my colleagues for answering. And this is very important. So if you don't get a response, we have been following up to get contact persons and asking to get. So if we don't get any response from a certain PES, we will make decisions based on what we have. We cannot continue asking and sending mails and saying, hey, this is your chance. The chance is there. We have communicated enough about it, and we have quite some answers, and we will do it with this. It's just for you to be informed that if you would get any remarks or something like, what is this, that you know on this slide what has been the process of consultation, which has been agreed by any means with the NCO. We agreed that we inform the NCO of a task, we do the task at this level, and if needed, we would inject a task at a very high level. This is a perfect example of a task that we had to introduce at the higher level. So just important information if it goes about governance. And then I think I can give the floor to Alan, who will start by recalling what the question is about and share with us the method of decision that we want to come to a decision and some first results.
Okay.
Alan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so first of all, what my colleague Emmanuel has given to you is the method that we follow. As Christophe has said, one of the main goals is to present what we did, what we are doing, and what we plan to do. So if you have any objection or issue or whatever, so please tell it today or just send an email to me. Yeah, okay, so when we send the questionnaire, it shows a simplified view of the CB and JB model. We have a full model definition. Indeed, one of the main issues was that some examples were not provided. In this case, it was because it was a simplified view, because filling a questionnaire in a remote way is quite complicated. In any case, we asked some questions to be answered for each element of the CB and JB model. Can you, as a REST partner, provide the mandatory fields listed, partially or not? Can you provide the optional fields? General feedback about the different elements and about the code base. Most of you know about it because you are also the ones that have responded or are being responding. This is overall view of who has responded up to now. The approach of this employment is to extending the period to respond for those who still not responded until the end of June. Okay, so Christophe will tell to you if it's like this or there's anything to comment about it. But the overall view we have up to now 21 up from 34 responses. So what Christophe commented is that decisions will be taken based on those who responded. For those who did not respond, considering end of June a deadline for responding, can raise the hand those who will not be able to respond by the end of June. Is there any issues? Those from Greece told me already that will not be possible, but for the rest, okay?
It's not sure that the person that has to respond is in this group. Okay. Some of them are here, but it could be someone else could be appointed.
Okay, so maybe it would be good to share it with your point of contacts to see if there's any issue about.
Is there a hand you should raise if you don't know if you can respond?
If you think that you will not be able to answer by the end of June, in case that you did not answer. So in your case, I think you did not answer. So
I didn't answer.
Okay.
I'm searching for the
Okay.
responses.
Okay. So. Okay, here we show you some common requests for support. First of all, examples. Indeed, not all examples were provided. Some of you and your colleagues that have filled the questionnaire have asked for the example. Also, some of you have told that some elements with a description field you used a code list, for example, iscode08. In this case, so you just can provide the code list, it's fine. The opposite would be complicated. Yeah. So in case that we had a code list and you have a description, so you should, when implementing the standard, you should or create a new annual field or adapt it to a code list. But this is at a later stage. Another question was for the elements with a code list. Some elements were in use and some not. In this case, you just can answer that you have the partial information and you can fill the. These are just some examples that will be shared with you with the final report. All what we are commenting here will be consolidated in in a document so that all the information is and all the discussions are kept. Okay, what we're doing with your answers. As I mentioned, we are filling a document, a very long document with all your answers. For every one of for each element, we are filling your answers. If you have this information in the system, you don't have it partially, or those who left it in blank. The comments that you provided on it, listed by each one of the tests, so that any information or any comment is not lost. Also, the information that you provided in the emails answering to it will be kept. And finally, if there's any legal issue about it's also kept. With this, for each one of the elements, we have all your answers. After that, we have started to process your answers. We have defined percentage of feasibility indicators, separating it with data availability and legal feasibility according to the typology of answers, so that we have an overall idea of how available and how feasible from a legal point of view is this indicator. We have considered, in this case, the answers yes or partially, so that you can have this information or somehow. And for legal feasibility, the yes to be defined or blank, we have considered that it will not be any issue. Okay. Going a little bit more in deep for data availability, for the EURES conformant layer, if there's a majority of yes or and partially, we have considered this element as okay, accepted, so you have this information, so it's okay to keep this information in the standard that it's being defined. Apart from the feasibility column that I've commented before, we have added another column with different codes. The first one is the elements that are okay in the model. You have this information. In theory, there's no issue to discuss. Obviously, some of you may not have this information. We can see it case by case. But the general rule is to follow the majority for taking decisions. For the majority of or no's or blanks, then we have an issue to investigate. You'll see in the final report TPI code. In this case, we can either discuss one-to-one with you, or to schedule specific workshops with some of you to discuss what can happen in this case. Okay, here we just see an example. We are in a phase consolidating your information. We don't have all of them, so the results from it are tentative, and probably they will change. But it's a first view of what we are having on it. If what we define is it's going well, if we have to change everything, and so on. For the optional layer, so this information is something that would be good to have, but the EURES team has not considered it mandatory. So if you have this information, so it's okay to keep it. It's okay. In case that the majority of you don't have this information, the decision will be to remove this element. If it's something that it's optional and you can have problems for having this information, the decision will be to remove this element. Okay. So going a little bit backwards, so we have the mandatory layer, conformant layer. So if you have this information, it's okay, we'll keep it. If not, so it's something to discuss, to investigate. For the optional layer, if we have this information, it's okay. If not, so we'll remove this, this information. This is the method that we are, or the rules that we are following. In case of legal feasibility, so this indicates the legal problems that you may have for sending this data. We'll consider only this indicator for the OKs, the elements that you can send, because otherwise, if you have problems and for sending it and also legal, so at this stage we don't consider it. In any case, if the majority is yes to be defined or blank, so there's no legal issue identified, so we'll proceed with what we have. It's okay. If there's a majority of no for the elements, yeah, so there's a legal warning to investigate. Obviously, when we process a little bit more the results, there will be things that we see that are not coherent among them, so we'll have to work a lot with it. But in the end, after some iterations, we hope that we'll have some results which show a good view of the situation and feasibility to implement this standard on the different employment services. So this is the method that we are following. Do you have any comments on it? Afterwards, we have some first results. But first of all, we'd like to your feedback from the method.
As there are a couple of new people, I would go a bit back to put things a bit in perspective, because I think for some of you it's really like, what is this? So our new standard is based on InterOpen. So it's an industry standard, which is a format which shows all the possible fields you could use to exchange data. We picked out the template for vacancies and CVs. That's the starting point, and we spent 2 years in workshops picking from these fields the ones that we say, this is a must. We must have this information. That's what we call the conformant ones, the required. We put some which we say, this would be nice as optional to have as well, for displaying and for information reasons. And then all the other ones, they will remain white, meaning that if we're going to exchange these documents with companies, some of them will have, because they use the same standard, they will have information in these fields. We'll just take them, ignore them. It can stay in there, because it's still some CV coming from them. It can stay there. But we are not doing anything in it in the EURES network. So what we're determining is the green conformant needs to be there. You should have it. The optional ones, if you have it shared, we will do. And the white ones is, for us, it's invisible. And that's the questionnaire we send out, and you have been providing all the feasibility saying for these fields. And now we need to decide on the green one saying, we said we need it. Do we have good news or bad news? For the bad news, we have to investigate, because we really want it. So what's the issue? And for the optional ones, yeah, if none of you can provide it, let's kick it out, because it's only going to be noise in all these documents. It's extra work. So that's what we want to decide on. And we want to do it first on a rough basis, because it's a huge questionnaire. So we want to do a first triage, saying we think that all of those are okay, based on these rules, and those might be an issue. So let's dive in and see what's the issue. So it's a first rough cut. You have to do something. You will get, by the way, the example you see is how we are getting the report from Alan and his colleagues. So for each field, you will have extra columns with the full details of how many people have been answering what, all the comments made. So this is a very good document, I think, to start if you need to dive in or to make or to discuss on a certain field. So this will be provided to you. First question is, we would like to put already a first proposition decision on the fields based on these rules. Let's say, so if 80% of you say, yes, we can do this, we propose to say, okay, this field should stay in. Because the reality is not going to be that everyone is going to be 100% having everything, of course. That's never going to happen. We have to put down what we want. And as today, none of you are maybe some of you are, maybe Valentin is, but none of you are all 100% on everything there, which is not the matter. You know, we want to provide service, and we do our best, and we try to get there. So again, here we should come to something that we say, yes, we should do this, and let's see how far we can get there, and we agree on feasibility. So the question is, if you, because it's a lot of information now, you will get this information, and we will put extra columns. Can you show the sample with the extra columns? Yeah. So you see the extra columns at the end where we will say, this stays in, needs to be investigated, we propose to move it out. So next to the facts, we already give our appreciation in that report that we send to you. And also on legal feasibility, if we see some issues, just putting a note there like, and on this one, you can do it, but 50% says there is a legal issue. So I think this would be a good first summary of feasibility with a kind of direction how to proceed. And from there we can tackle the details. Because it's not feasible, I think, to take the whole report with 400 fields and go sit and put you down for 1 week somewhere in a prison and go field by field saying, what about this one, what about this one? So that's the proposition to go ahead, which doesn't stop you, of course. You will get the full details of throwing in important observations about certain fields. First question, is the method clear? Because we spent a lot of phone calls determining, for me it's clear, for you it's the first thing you see about, is the method, the 4 things we want to do, clear? Okay, no more questions about them. Then, is anyone objecting that we use this method? Or has a better idea? No peer pressure here? As before, sometimes someone has a great idea. If you think like, why not, what about this? Or can you do 5 things? Use the brain. Okay, so then...
Maybe I can show the first results, because the results will be also included in the final report. Because that's true that, so this is a theoretical way, but maybe then you'll see in a more practical way what we will do and the next steps. And maybe this, so Christophe can raise the question again.
I want to see them as well. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so firstly for the JV part, we still didn't have all the answers, okay, that will be received in the following days. For the EURES conformant layer, for the JV, we have 69% okay, which is okay, not bad. I think it could be better. We have 31% of issues to investigate. Indeed, these issues to investigate, maybe it's something that indeed it's not an issue, maybe it's a misunderstanding, or indeed it can be a problem. So I think that this 69% can be increased once that we start working on it until 80%, 85%, don't know. In any case, from this 69%, the legal feasibility for sending this information, we just found one information which was a warning, which indeed probably will not, but indeed a first conclusion can be that legally there's no issue on it, but there are some elements that must be investigated indeed. Here we have the optional layer for the JV. The first conclusion is that most of the information that we consider as optional, you don't have it. So the action proposed will be to remove it. It's almost 65%. These ones that you have this information and we consider it optional, the idea is to keep this, to maintain this information. With such a big value, the standards will probably be quite simple, which probably is good. In any case, these are only first conclusions which have to be processed a little bit in detail, are just the big values. In this case, there's no legal issue identified, so it's fine.
So I think for me this is quite good news, because on the required fields there is quite a big amount which is okay, which is not so simple to have for all the countries being there. And the other ones to investigate, or it isn't an issue and we cannot have them, and then okay, we will have to make them or maybe optional or even get them out. So this just proves that we are already quite good at what we are proposing, and we still have some points which I was expecting. And the second slide I was expecting for sure. Because when we were doing the exercise, we were quite in the visionary mode, like, oh yeah, and this would be great, and if you could do this and we could show that. But in the end, if you don't have it, it's all just a waste of effort to ask everyone to. By the way, if we say remove, it means that we in our exchange are not going to read that data and do something maybe with it, but it doesn't mean that if it's in there, so if you would have this information, that we're going to throw it out. It stays in the file. And so if you give it to me and you will give it to another partner who is reading that field, they will still see it. It's only for us. It's meaning that the green ones, the first one, we are going to do matching on them. They are core. This means that you're going to do something with it, searching, matching. The optional one is like, yeah, this we want to display. This interesting information to show on your screen, and the rest is there, but we are not going to have any use case for it in our network yet. So for me, the first results are quite what I was expecting from my feeling from our workshops, that we needed to do quite a big shifting on the optional. And how this has been for the moment.
In any case, so we'll go a little bit more in detail about the answers, because just with these big figures, so maybe there's some particular issue or something that wasn't explained clear, but I will go a little bit more in deep. But okay, so what Christoph just said are the main conclusions. In any case, in order to not to lose any specific possible issue on it, for each one of the issues to investigate in the conformant layer, we will list in a file document which are the elements. Okay, so we will list all the pending actions to be done in our model define. This is just a list that we share with you. We don't have time to go in detail, and in any case, it will be shared with you at some point. Okay, here we have more elements in the different business blocks. Here we have just one legal warning from your answers. Yes, this is an ID, so maybe if we go a little bit in detail, so it will not be an issue anymore. Here we have also a list of elements to remove, which we consider as optional, and most of you have shown that you don't have this information. Okay, the elements to remove are a lot. Okay. What's for the CB part? The results are quite similar. We have for feasibility for the conformant layer 65%. Okay. With issues, we have 35% as well. Here, as we had more elements, we have also more issues to investigate. In this case as well, there's no legal warning identified. And finally, for the optional layer, we have a lot of elements to remove. So just maybe because the JB part is more more mature, we have almost 82% of the elements that we define in the optional as optional for EURES to be removed. So we'll keep only 26 at this point. And legally, there's as well no legal issue.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or observations?
You want to take mine?
I want to say, and I'm not very happy. I admit I didn't complete yet this questionnaire, but I have the details. It doesn't matter yet. I'd like to hear about democracy coming in our daily life, even in the choosing of the solution after this questionnaire. But let's use democracy further. It would be nice and useful for those who didn't answer yet to this questionnaire to have the partial results in real time somewhere on the web. It will be helpful, especially if our response don't influence any further the main result. You know what I intend to say? Maybe I will be the last who will complete this questionnaire. It's hypothetical. I'm never the last, although it's somebody else's fault.
But
it will be, if I'm the last and the choice of yours is already made, it will be very helpful for my soul to consider that it doesn't matter anymore what I complete there.
But
thank you.
Yeah, first, we will share the results, of course, with everyone. It is not because we didn't get the results or cannot take them into account for first exercise on conclusion that the results will not be shared to the whole network. So you will get the same report as everyone, and it's not because you're not involved that if we're going to do investigations, or because we also have to look, it's not because the majority that we still not have to consider one specific field saying this is crucial. How is it possible that no one says, and we have to go and question again saying, was it clear, or what could you then provide instead of this? So it's not the end. We need to do an exercise, we have to put an end to it to make a first document which is usable by us to go one step further and to come to a kind of a draft document. So we will use this method to make a first draft document with all the details and a proposal for a rough cut in, out, which we will use to start going to the details. I have to go sit again with the colleagues, going through it, and you will have the chance to do the same. It's not because you are not in that you are not welcome to read the document and provide feedback. So the moment we propose to drop an element, now we are going to watch at that decision. Like, you know what is your situation, you see that we propose to drop it or not. Are you okay with it? No problem. Do you say, but we have it and we should really think that this should stay in? Then it's your chance to come and argue that specific decision. I think that's the next step to go. Propose decisions, ask for the feedback from the network. We will then use the results. There are the next steps. Yeah.
Formally, so what we considered as next steps is to set a deadline, so end of June, receive the pending answers. But the plan is not to share it yet with all of you. Obviously, we have to consolidate all answers, to process them, to go a little bit more in deep in what you answered. Also, you provided, or your colleagues provided, some information in emails which is relevant to take decisions. We'll share these conclusions with DigiEmploy, with the EURES team, so that we all together process and validate the results before going to you. We will cook a little bit the conclusions so that we don't spam you with results that can be incoherent and can generate some noise. Once we have it, we'll go to share it with you, this final report. And then we plan to have specific discussions with each of you, or to set up specific workshops. At this point, all the issues should be discussed. Some decisions should be taken, and we will be able to apply the changes to the models, both for CB and for JB, applying the changes, and then we can certify a first version. So this is the plan that we plan to have. But until the point that you can have the results, okay. So some activities should be done. This is the plan. I don't know if this presentation can be available for them. So I think that first results you already have it. So I don't think they will vary too much until the end of the month. So maybe 5, 6, 10 employment services can answer, but more or less the conclusions will be these ones. You have also a list of the elements with issues or with legal warnings at this point. So, but it's just a first view, and it cannot be taken as a final vision, because we don't have process. We didn't start to discuss about each one of the possible issues. It just mathematics, let's say. So it's democracy. It was commented there, but at this point it's just mathematics.
Is this text somewhere?
This is just the method that we follow. Is part of the slides, but I suppose that Christoph will share it with you.
The slides are in our Dropbox meeting folder. So all presentations you've seen today, including the new process manual with the reports, is all in our collaboration Dropbox, as long as we are not on the extranet yet. So on the first slide, somewhere of my presentation, there was a link to the bit.ly shortcut where you could, but if you don't have the link to our Dropbox. But if you don't know where it is, just send us an email. We'll send you a nice link to the entrance of our clubhouse.
So maybe you're a little bit tired after lunch and so many meetings. As we have extended to the period until the end of June, so maybe if you are more fresh until that point, if you have some proposal of how to improve our method, so you can tell Christoph, about these next steps that we plan to do. So if you have any proposal, so I think that it will be welcome. But at some point we should close the stop receiving answers. So indeed, if there's any issues, so they can be incorporated. But we have to. We should continue with having some conclusions and working on the final standard. So it cannot be eternal.
So the goal of today is, you saw the table. So when you get the full document with lots of these tables, you know a bit already how we did it and what the last columns are. So when you have the report, you know how to read that. And from there we will see, because I also want to see the results. I will share them. And as always, first you have to see the problem before you know what's the best way to tackle. Some things will maybe be evident, some things will maybe be such a problem that we have to set up a whole mail about it, I don't know. First, make a diagnosis. Was a question?
Yeah.
I was just, maybe I dropped off or something after lunch. How the method for seeing if there are legal problems for that, could you just go over that? Because I think that's really important that we understand just the legal things. Because I was surprised that there was zero legal problems with exchanging CVs, I would have thought that there would have been at least 5% or something like that.
Yeah, so this is only mathematics at this point. This is that the majority of you haven't shown an issue with some fields, but indeed this is one of the main concerns. Once that we get a little bit more in detail, so maybe the threshold for considering a possible legal issue or not has to be downloaded a little bit. Yeah, so this is a good question, but mathematically speaking, let's say the majority of you haven't found any issue with this.
There it's also, we take some principles, and some have put that also in the response email, that we consider first that the person who sends in CV has a consent to do whatever with this. So it starts with this. It's not that we're just exchanging information and that the CV can be seen by whatever. There are some legal grounds there on the total. It's not about one field, it's about the whole exchange. And you know, at the Commission, the security rules are very high, so we need to have a full consent and everything. So I think we start from there, saying we have a consent on the exchange. Then are there still fields? It could be that even if you give consent, that this field cannot be exchanged for whatever. So that would be the consideration. Also, I'm a bit pragmatic at the moment. I'm just trying to check on a technical way what do you have and what can you exchange. If tomorrow some of you cannot do something by any legal grounds, that's it, you know, you cannot break the law. So, as I said before, we will have some fields maybe which are required, which two countries cannot exchange at any moment because there are whatever reasons. And it will be like that. So, I really want to see here this legal more as an extra sweep of, okay, this is what we can do and how good are we doing on the legal? Will the lawyers be there to stop whatever we want to do or not? So it's more like based on the feedback from this group, to do, as we do the survey, let's get the information. But I think if we get there, once we have it, we said before, there was a lot of other policy issues to discuss about this exchange. And for instance, we are just putting data to do searching, but it doesn't mean that all the data will be shown to the person who gets the final CV. Maybe we used it only for finding something, and the information disclosed is almost nothing. It could be only, please contact Sweden for the CV. It cannot be shown even. So we have to be pragmatic to move forward, and of course hope that the legal principle things will follow. But it's true.
I just wanted to add that we have only considered the possible legal issues with the ones that are feasible. So lots of them you have also shown that legally speaking can provide some issues. But for these ones we have just considered these possible legal problems. So once that we discuss in detail the whole picture, if we see some particular situations which from a legal point of view have to be seen in detail, we'll go through it. But some of the elements we just not consider for looking at the legal work.
Okay. So thanks, Alan, for sharing these first results. So also the first time I saw them, for me they're quite okay. This is what I was expecting, and I think it's a good start to start progressing and getting some things out which can only save some trees, because instead of having such a standard on paper, it can maybe become a bit less thick. So thank you, Alan. And
thank you for your effort answering, which is quite...
Yeah, you will hear from them. You will hear from them more, for sure. Thanks. Okay. Do we have a coffee break now or after? Yeah? Anyone needs caffeine? Okay. So can we start again? It's a bit. Okay. So as I introduced this morning, this is now a new topic on our agenda that I would like to have, is to open the floor, and that you would be presenting, and also in the future meetings, that we start presenting ideas or things that you are doing on interoperability, so on matching or search applications. So if you have ideas, it doesn't even need to be there. If you say we're working on this, so if you are doing something on searching, matching, or an idea about the API, the idea is to have some space on our agenda where we start sharing and brainstorming, which can lead to input for us at the Commission to make better horizontal services, and of course also just for you to generate other business ideas. So it's really best practice sharing. So I propose, and I find Christophe willing to present on this meeting. So after this meeting, I will also for next meeting, if you have a topic or whatever, please send it in. Don't be too modest. I know people going, mine is not so great or whatever, or just an idea. It's important that we start sharing, and even ideas. If you say, we're not doing this, but I have this idea, or is this possible, or can we do this with the API? I would really like to have, I think we are ready with this group to do that, to go into collaborating mode and try brainstorming or having some great ideas on things to do. So feel free, if you have another idea of how we could go about this, if you want to have smaller groups having a brainstorm on something like on the API, do we need to create an online meeting to go and discuss this? If you would have ideas on that, feel free to share this with me. But first, I give the floor, and I'm very curious to see what he will tell to Christophe.
Okay, thank you. I have prepared two topics for today. Just some short information about our matching engine, and if there is the time, some short information about how we collaborate with employers via the use of an XML technique. And I will focus on our national portal. This is what we do basically since 2009. There will be some major releases next year, and 2017, then the things will be mixed up new, but this is how we work today. I don't want to give you too much details about our organization. I'm working for the German PES. We are spread all over Germany. We have one head office and up to 200 employment agencies, and we are all together more than 100,000 agents. Together with our clients, we work on one virtual labor market. This is how we call it. We will all work on one platform and technically on one database. And this allows us to do some things I want to focus on the next slides. So job seekers, employers, our agents, communal organization, that is the way we organize social welfare in Germany. We all work together on this virtual labor market. And EURES is, for example, one partner, and other job portals. This virtual labor market exists of four main components. One component is Verbis. This is our expert tool. The other main component is our job board. It's called Jobbörse. It's mainly the same data you can see from those two perspectives. If you take in the perspective of an agent working with client data, you use Verbis and you can see, for example, text documents, some internal documents, etc., which cannot be accessed via the Jobbörse. But even if you write down what you talked about with a client, you can make it accessible. So he can access these informations via the use of the internet portal, the Jobbörse. In addition, we use a job robot. That's a job crawler. This is something we use for, we only use internally, so our agents can use this job robot, this crawler, to get vacancy information which we do not yet have. And we have an online portal. This is the content portal with a lot of text. The Jobbörse and the virtual labor market has, in my opinion, quite impressive statistics. We have up to 60 million page views per day if you combine the internal and external point of view. The reliability is quite good. Last month we had 3 days offline. That was really a problem. And as far as the information got through, and if it's true, it was a 20 euro component which caused this technical defect. Yeah. And yeah, it was a financial disaster, I think. Yeah. But was the first time and hopefully the last time. Some information about our matching engine, our matching mechanisms. In the medieval age of matching, we only had the hard search. You could search for professions or even for skills, but it was just a yes or no or in or out result which the systems could deliver. And with building up this virtual labor market, we built up this soft search in addition. So the match score, which is counted in a way in the system, knows varieties from exact to very inexact. And it is then also possible to rank the results. So let me think of an example. If someone searches for a baker, yeah, and the employer is searching for a baker who's able to make sweet cakes. So to be able to make sweet cakes is not the same like baking bread, but not so totally different. So the system knows that it's not the same, and but still in a range where perhaps an employer says, okay, this man can make a cake, and so with some advice, I will bring him to the possibility to make bread as well. So this is what we have in the system, and that's a lot of work to have the data up to date, yeah, because every time you bring in new skills, you have to tell the system about the similarities. We have 4 different ways how you can search in the system. The most interesting are the full text search and the profile search. Mainly the profile search is the one where the matching happens, the automatic matching. The other searches are sometimes a kind of statistic search or searches where you can use the hard criteria. The full text search is the place where most of the enhancements have to be done, because now if you search for a certain keyword, the system knows some similarities, but this is where I think most of the development in the next year will go in, that you use semantic tools, that the system knows more and learns more from full text input. We call it a kind of bidirectional matching, which is based on competences and skills. We always talk about the job client and the job offer and the components which are compared. And if you know where I have it, this is the way it works. If you go through the system, you select things from a catalog, the matching happens, and the result is sorted and shows a kind of detail match. So every time the system puts out a result, you can open a detail match, and there you see where the similarities are, where it is 100% or 70%. And this is not so easy to achieve, because like I wanted to show in this slide, a very high data quality is required to allow a significant matching. So you really have to put much focus on data quality. You have to bring the job seekers to a point that they really put all their skills in the system, and you have to bring the employers to the point that they don't put every skill they expect from a job seeker into the system. Only if you have this data in a correct way, the system could bring out its advantages. Skills can be hard criteria or soft criteria. So if you mark a skill as a mandatory skill, the system works in a way that it recognizes this skill as in or out. Also, you can mark every other criteria as a want to have or as a must have. And a kind of content management system, which is the basis for all this matching machine, is our classification of professions and skills. It's nothing else than our national ESCO classification in a way, which we have to map someday, somehow, to ESCO. And this is what we try to keep in care of every single day. And we really try to make it possible that, for example, a new skill gets into the system within some days, or some 1, 2, 3 weeks. So it is necessary, if you take a look at the IT sector or somewhere else, that if the market has the demand for a new skill, that you have it in the system quite fast. And as far as I understood ESCO, there it could take a longer time period to bring in new skills, because they have a huge landscape of partners, and hopefully we will find a good way to work with ESCO and our national classification system. We have this, we call it Berufenet, it's ProfessionNet in English, which has the basic information and also the information about which core competencies are connected to single professions. And you know all how catalogs look like, and these are some screenshots, for example, for a baker. So you see up to 50 skills we can bring into connection with a baker. But it's every time possible to give someone or to mark a skill which is not in connection with a profession. So it's if you have a software developer, you can also give him the skill Lebkuchen. Who knows what Lebkuchen is in English? I don't know. It's this Christmas thing, this sweet thing. Yeah. So they are not directly connected with a single profession. I already mentioned, you can search with keywords. So one skill is not only entered with one word you have to put in exactly into the system. Sorry. Sorry? Gingerbread. Gingerbread, yes, yeah, okay. And we try to make it quite simple to enter skills. Sorry. And this is how the detail match, for example, looks. Yeah? And You can see that sometimes there are not accurate match scores, and the system puts out how many points a single matching item gets, or not gets. If you want to get into deep information, I put some links for all those catalogs here. You will find the presentation, I guess, in the Dropbox folder. And if you have any questions, please let me know. No question? I had thousands of them when I first heard about our matching system.
The skills that you, or the keywords, is that user-driven? You said that you can get skills into your system within 2 or 3 days. Is that how do you get news or get to know about that these new skills are coming up?
Users, internal or external users, can propose new skills. We have yet no automatism that the system recognizes if some words are used more frequently. And we have an external company caring about our catalogs.
Maybe your question, because this is also something that we are facing. You've got new skills proposed and you accept them in the system, but then the existing CVs or vacancies could potentially be updated. I don't know if that was also your question. The question is that, yeah, because for instance, we are looking at ESCO, and ESCO is going to evolve, and today people are making the CVs already on the portal, but if a new version comes, and the next version, they will have much more detailed skills. So the whole question is, how do you go about, because you cannot say each time to user, a new version, go and make your CV. So you need to find a way of informing them, maybe when they open or edit, saying, this skill has been split into, or there are some new skills linked. That's a challenge. Yeah. I see with the new taxonomies, which are a living web thing, and how do we go about end users?
One of the things we're looking at doing is moving that into, because one of our assumptions is that people will be looking for work a lot more than they'll be updating their CV, and so when they're on the job board looking for work, then we should be able to recognize them if they've logged in, or even if they haven't, from the set of skills that they do their match with. We could say, propose, okay, here's a new skill that you could add to your profile.
What we have to keep in mind is that when we try to develop the system further, is that to keep an eye on how the clients want their processes to be built into the system. It's something which is described as a candidate experience. We have really tried. We really have to keep on a good level. So. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, on the one side you want to have every detailed information, but on the other side you don't want to force a client to spend 2 hours to enter his CV in our system. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. It will get interesting how these things can be solved. We just begin to think about using semantic tools, or even tools where you can throw in a PDF CV and get structured data around, and so we will see what the future will bring.
I agree that's the future. But you said it's bi-directional, or what I was saying, that getting or finding a job is not a one way. You do an attempt, and the system should then detect, based on some knowledge, indeed, saying there are some jobs which you could not reach, but because they have got newer skills than the last update you did, and then go in and say, if you would have these skills, we are closely matching, you could consider. So the whole knowledge of building this living system where if a person goes in the moment he wants to find a job, the jobs that you don't do a hard matching only, you do some other matchings with some more loose things, with newer skills, and then tell the person, if you would have these skills on your CV, then I've got some other doors could open, which I've seen in the system from the VDAB, and also here I see that it's not a one-time shot. So if someone of you is working on this, saying, okay, you have systems of how you ask people to update their CV or propose, not only what they select. Because it's great at these skills things, but asking users to go and select from them, when you're doing some testing on CV databases, it's like, oh my God, do I really have to go? And so as you say, they expect to have a written CV, it's scanned, the system says, I think this is you, yes, no. That's kind of systems. So if someone is working on that or having ideas or saying we're using this kind of tool or technology or we're doing it like this would be very interesting also to share here, because it's also part of matching, and because there could be APIs behind there to do things and to say do the same search with more freedom, or do the same search with a taxonomy, stroll, fuzzy thing, whatever. So if someone is working on that, I think that's the future, if you want to have these living things controlled. So feel free if you're working on this or have a great idea.
Yeah, we are not working on this thing, but I have an idea because I was a user in another system which offers work for freelancers. And they have changed things very, very quickly, and lots of things in the, let's say, 2 last years. And one of these things they have changed was the system for skills, for evaluating your skills yourself, and later on to transfer skills into the new taxonomy, let's say. And the method they chose, for me, let's say, I was as a client in their system, testing their functionalities. They sent out the emails for all of their users, as I understood, and asked the user just to update his or her CV. And if I remember it exactly, there was just a proposal of a previous skill matching some new skill name. And if you want, you may leave it, or if not, then they show you all the variants. Let's say if they have made them into more detailed level, they show the variants which represent the previous broader skill with the more detailed skills, and ask you if you want to choose more than one out of these. All those skills I was working with, it was more closely related to the software and development skills, so they were really developing things fast, I would say. Yeah.
Was all of this information already in the email that you get, or you get an invitation by email and it's when you go in the system that they present this?
As far as I remember, it was in the system, but the email said that we have updated your profile with our skills, a new system of skills, so please be pleasant and go to check out how did this process has gone.
Okay. Another question, because you're saying, I don't know if you know about a Dutch company, TextKernel. I've been seeing, because they are involved with ESCO as well, and we are in touch with them, and they came presenting, because they are making also tools. For instance, if you have a website with your vacancy on there, and you take the link to the vacancy and you feed it to the system, it goes, scans, and gives you a profile. It makes it into like an object that can be searched, and it searches then amongst their CVs, which is quite impressive. And it was working very well for the IT sector, because there, of course, as you say, there are really detailed dictionaries. So also to go forward on this brainstorm, if some of you know like real good examples of this kind of tools that you think would be interesting maybe to invite or have a short presentation in this group, feel free also to, it could be interesting, mainly to get ideas, because if you see what these systems are capable of doing, it's not that we just have to make the same, but it really helps in generating ideas about what we could be doing and to question if we should move in this direction or not. Because that's the idea. We should really get into thinking, brainstorming modes, and all of you are watching are much closer to the market than me. So I only saw a couple of demonstrations. I believe that you will have much more insights in what's happening. So if you have such a thing, or like this example, if you think like, okay, this would be great to show it to you, bring it, send it in as a possible agenda point, and we can see how to bring this information or to share it. Maybe we don't need to have it in the meeting. It's possible when we have the extranet that we start sharing like this. Great, I saw this company doing this. If you have a presentation, to share it there and to start. But I really want to go more into this mode.
We had a presentation from TextKernel 2 weeks ago, and they have shown us what they can do quite automatically. And they run 2 portals in the Netherlands. We talked about with Harry, IM Amsterdam, and for example, and then there you can see what results by automatic crawling from job vacancies can look like. It's really impressive. Okay, if you give me some more minutes, I can present you the way we work together with bigger employers, for example, with the use of XML. An employer can bring in his vacancies in different ways. For example, he can call his agent on the phone, he can fill in a simple online form, he can use our online portal with self-service, and he can use an XML interface for electronic data exchange. This mainly is focused on bigger employers or companies in the business of temporary work, for example. So all the companies who have a lot of vacancies they want to bring into our PES and don't want to enter them manually, or the agent in our office does not want to enter 100 or 200 vacancies per day manually. This XML feature comes into place on this virtual labor market in our common database, and works together with employers or job portals. We realized the integration of Juris in a way we also work together with our job portals. This XML structure, we use a kind of this HR XML. We call it HRBA. This is the name of our PES XML, and it is used to enhance the process. It's really faster, of course. It releases workload from those who have to enter the vacancies. And interesting is that the quota of the vacancies which are delivered by this feature increases above the average of the increase of the normal vacancies. So it's getting more and more mainstream. And 33% of all the vacancies we have in our PES are delivered via this XML. As I mentioned, it is mainly focused on bigger companies because you have a demand of a certain implementation of HR software or IT processes a small company simply does not have. And the partners really do ask for it. All the bigger companies have HR tools which already have all the information inside they want to give to the PES. So why should they enter it separately in another system? We have 4 different cooperation models. We have one cooperation model for employers. This is where we only import vacancies. We have a job portal model, where we import and export in generally. And we have a model for public partners or communal partners where we only give our vacancies. We have, and this is, for example, this is in our opinion one key point for the success. We have one team in our head office who's really caring about every little step. The integration of this XML feature needs to be talked about with the employers. They have defined roles of responsibility. They have fixed legal contracts both partners have to sign before it gets live. And they have defined business processes as well for updates, for help desk structures, etc. And to give you an impression about what we are talking, we have more than 400 active employers using this cooperation model. They sent in last month up to nearly 80,000 vacancies. And we have 55 active job boards bringing in about 50,000 vacancies using XML. And we have one website. Oh, it's the French keyboard. And there we have all the information necessary to implement it. We have the catalogs online. We have kind of white paper so that those who are responsible for the business cases and those who are responsible for the technically point of view can find every information they need. Okay, that was a short view on this cooperation model via XML. And again, if you have any questions, I would be happy to try to answer them. Yes?
Issues with duplication?
Sorry, with what?
Duplication of vacancies from...
Duplication?
Yeah, where you have the same vacancy twice if you're receiving them from bulk upload plus employer.
It can be a problem if you work together with with companies concentrating on temporary work, but they have to bring in the name of the company and the vacancy really takes place in. So we try to manage the problem with the duplicates. Yeah.
What about the security? You cannot sign electronically HTML file. You cannot sign it electronically.
Okay, yeah, but the communication is on a secure level.
Is it secured by a law?
Yes.
Is it also some information by mail?
Mm-hmm.